The moment is here, you can stop your search. It's Comics by Perch.
Hey everybody, this is Perch. Got a bunch of emails around San Diego Comic-Con, people kind of giving various takes on it, all over the map. Some people apparently had a good time, some people had a pretty miserable time. Sound like people had a little bit too much to drink Saturday night in a few places, but be that as it may. So here's an email asking a question about it. It says, "Hey Perch, hope you're well. I've heard that San Diego Comic-Con has been doing very well despite not having a large Hollywood presence. Most people describe Artist Alley section and in general, your lower famous star areas of Comic-Con as much more crowded. Some of this, of course, seems obvious because big Hollywood isn't present and fans have to go somewhere. However, I think what the commentators were saying was that the audiences were enjoying what they were seeing and maybe hadn't seen before. Just wanted to know if you've heard anything else and would love to know your comments. If anything, I'm hopeful the independent producers could be seen and have a successful campaign because of exposure at San Diego Comic-Con. I know your videos are just programmed now, and I'm not sure if you're planning on doing any more. I hope you know that I really have appreciated your insight. I think you've got a lot of wise takes, and that's nice of you. And I hope you know that you're appreciated. The internet is really mean and full of a lot of douchebags. It's good to have people who don't suck make videos. Thank you for commenting and responding with great dialogue." Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And not all pre-programmed, still doing new videos, so still answering this mail. So yeah, I've heard, like I said, I've heard a lot. And I think I think there's a few things happen. We'll get the basics out of the way. We haven't had a kind of big San Diego Comic-Con for a couple of years. We did have one last year, but still in that, is there still COVID? Not sure. So this was kind of a return to form. And so a lot of people who kind of have built up kind of this excitement for Comic-Con went all out from a fan perspective. So I think that's a big part of it. On top of that, I think what you said, Hollywood bowing out means, there was just kind of more to do. I think that there is a little bit more interest in kind of original art and meeting the artists than there's been in years past. I think there's been a little bit more kind of pop culture attention on artists and that kind of stuff. There's like a slight increase. So I think if you think of all these things put together, Comic-Con hasn't been there for a while. Movie studios largely sat it out, and a little bit more interest in original art. It all kind of stacks up to, basically mean that you had a higher level of attention. Okay, so yeah, that's really what's going on there. In terms of, if things beyond that, I'd be lying if I said I think this will lead to a big boost in indie artist promotion. Chances are it won't. I think the one thing I heard a lot about from people who went to San Diego Comic-Con was kind of a reinforcement of a high majority of the people going to San Diego Comic-Con are not the people who are going into comic shops. They're cosplayers, they're people there for the festival of comics. And I think you could start to at least guess that the festival crowd is different from the comic book buying and collecting crowd. It's just a different thing. Didn't used to be, but that's kind of where we're at now, where it's unfortunately, I think we've seen a big drop in pure comic art audiences. And it's really become a comic book festival. It's a different animal now. Hey, that'll be good for the convention owners. It's good for the, if you're a publisher or somebody who is making comics, you could take this and you could market it to kind of say you could raise money off of it. Look at all the attention in comics. The problem is, I strongly believe, and I've got plenty of evidence and other retailers I talk to that, the people who are going to the comic convention are not going to make their way into a comic shop and buy comics. They're just not, at least not in any volume. I think the other thing that's happening is that you're starting to get a lot of the manga anime fans also entering into Comic-Con. So you have people who have zero interest in media beyond manga and anime. And one of the things we don't talk about on this channel very much, but it's also happening, is that you have kind of the audience who enjoys, Demon Slayer, for example, and they're not terribly interested in any kind of printed comic or manga. They're interested in the anime and the movies, and they like kind of the art style. They like the culture of it, but they don't plan on really participating as a reader and as a buyer. And I think my daughter, when she talks to her friends, they're all interested in it, but we've tried getting manga for some of her friends as a birthday gift, and they never want it. They want T-shirts with that stuff on it. They don't want to actually have any of the manga. So we'll see how that actually translates over time. Obviously, manga's still selling and everything else, but I think there's a factor of the audience that's being curated here. So I think that all of those things kind of combine to paint a picture of where the comic industry is arguably going. All that said, hey, it's a good thing. I mean, a lot of artists are showing up at Artist Alley, getting lines, getting things signed. That's good. If there's one kind of dark cloud in this, wonderful sky of more money and more attention, it's that I think that people inside of comics are going to take a severely wrong lesson behind what they are seeing in Comic-Con. I think there's going to be a huge incorrect lesson that is learned. And I think that's going to be really along the lines of, hey, comics are better than ever. We just need to keep doubling down on what we're doing. And I think that's a horrifying, horrible mistake. If anything, when you see these moments and you see a bunch of factors kind of come together, like, Hollywood's not there, so you're getting more attention, and hey, there appears to be more interest in the art. That would be the time for, Marvel and DC in particular to double down on hiring really good artists, on promoting them, on talking about kind of what they do in order to, make the artists, popular and successful. Allow some of these artists to draw classic versions of these characters. Yes, the Frank Castle Punisher, the Steve Rogers Captain America. Doesn't mean you can't do some of these other characters. Again, next time you're in an argument with somebody, by the way, and you're like, I just want to see if Steve Rogers Captain America. The other person's like, oh, you racist. Why do you always want to have the classic stuff? Go, hey, you know what? I have no problem. With some of these new mantles, new characters. Because the thing is, Marvel publishes between 80 and 90 comics a month. So can you give me 10 of those? I would like 10 comics that are classic. 10. And then you could do whatever the hell you want with 70 of other comics. 70. This is... it is absurd that we're talking about, people throw out there's no room for the Falcon as Cap. Of course there is. We can have a Sam Wilson Captain America. Absolutely we can. Please. You're publishing 80 books a month. There is room for everyone. Please publish a good classic Cap book, a good Fantastic Four book, a good X-Men book, a good Avengers book. Iron Man. Here's the thing. If you sat down and you tried to come up with 12 Marvel comics that are just classic Marvel comics, that just kind of really speak to that kind of that model, you'd struggle a little bit to do it. That's the absurd thing about all this. It's absolutely absurd. But this is what people should take from this. Get people in to do some classic comics, double down on the art side of things, stop, dismissing the artists in favor of, well, it's just about the writers, which Marvel denies that they do, but they absolutely do. And, and build from this success. But unfortunately, again, I think you're already seeing articles being written like, oh, the haters have said comics are going to die, or there's a problem that they're clearly wrong because Barbie made a lot of money and the people showed up to San Diego Comic-Con in costumes, so clearly everything is fine. That is a terrible takeaway. I really hope people don't do that. It's just the saddest trombone noise possible of a take that people could do. But anyway, it is good. I'm glad some of the indie artists got some money. That's wonderful. And I hope that they can translate to success. If you're an indie artist that did do better than expected at San Diego Comic-Con, my advice for you is keep pushing kind of your craft, keep pushing style, get some classic versions of those characters. Those sell well. Keep going in that direction. and just get your work out there and hustle. The only one in charge of your career is you. Thanks for listening.